In the summer of 1968, when a rich young girl named Ju-hee comes from the city to visit her grandfather in the countryside. There, a poor boy named Jun-ha is instantly captivated by her delicate beauty. His friends mock him for dreaming too big, reminding him that she's the daughter of a congressman, far above his reach. But young love ignores logic, and Jun-ha can't resist greeting her. To his surprise, Ju-hee smiles warmly and waves back, and in that fleeting moment, an uncontrollable spark of youth ignites between them. Everything in the countryside feels new and exciting to Ju-hee, and even when Jun-ha digs a small animal out of cow dung, she doesn't hesitate to touch it with curiosity. Wanting to explore more of the rural mysteries, she invites Jun-ha to go on an adventure to the so-called haunted house. Faced with the goddess of his heart's invitation, Jun-ha agrees without hesitation. The haunted house lies across the river, so they board a small boat to row across. As they row toward the other side, danger quietly lurks nearby. Soon, they arrive at the abandoned house, and together they push open the creaking door, the eerie silence, sending chills down their spines. When they step further inside, both slip and fall to the ground. Jun-ha quickly helps Ju-hee up, but suddenly a shadow flashes behind them. Gathering his courage, Jun-ha slowly opens a suspicious door, but the next second he screams and runs out. Ju-hee, more curious than scared, steps closer to see what's inside, only to find that the haunted house is just a shelter for a wandering beggar. While they're still recovering from the excitement, heavy rain starts pouring outside and their small boat gets washed away by the current. The next crossing point is more than 10 miles away, impossible to reach before dark. And to make things worse, Ju-hee twists her ankle on the slippery ground. So Jun-ha carries her on his back and finds shelter in an old melon hut. Thoughtful as ever, he wrings out his clothes for her to wipe herself dry. When the rain stops, he even steals a huge watermelon for them to share. But his rough way of cutting it leaves Ju-hee stunned. She never imagined that a watermelon could be eaten like that. Growing up in the city, she had never met someone so wild and simple, and now she couldn't stop feeling drawn to him. Slowly, affection blooms in her heart. By nightfall, they finally reach another riverbank. Ju-hee is mesmerized by the glow of fireflies, the first she's ever seen in real life. Seeing her fascination, Jun-ha quickly catches one and gently hands it to her, and that small gesture completely melts her heart. When they finally return by boat, Ju-hee's grandfather is already waiting angrily at the pier. Knowing they must soon part, Ju-hee takes off her necklace and gives it to Jun-ha as a token of their bond before her servants carry her away. But before Jun-ha can process what happened, Ju-hee's grandfather slaps him hard, warning him to remember his place. Their love seems doomed to end there, yet fate plays its cruelest trick. When the new semester begins in autumn, Jun-ha's close friend Young-eun asks for a favor, to write a love letter to his fiancée. As he hands over her photo, Jun-ha freezes, because the girl in the picture is none other than Ju-hee. Young-eun explains that their parents arranged the engagement long ago, and that they've never met in person. Jun-ha hides his pain and says nothing, though he deeply loves the girl in the photo. Using his friend's name, he pours his heart into the letter, writing every word from his own longing. Soon, Young-eun receives Ju-hee's reply, which includes 2 tickets to her upcoming piano performance. Overjoyed, he drags Jun-ha along. When Ju-hee steps gracefully onto the stage, Jun-ha can't control himself. He rises suddenly, eyes locked on her familiar face, lost completely in her presence. The song she plays on the piano carries a faint sadness that touches everyone in the audience. When the performance ends, she beams like a star as the audience applauds, and Young-eun rushes forward with flowers. Just then, Ju-hee glances toward the crowd and meets Jun-ha's gaze. Their eyes lock, and an unspoken emotion surges between them. But reality's invisible chains keep them apart as she leaves with her elders. Jun-ha, too, lacks the courage to give her the flowers in his hand. Alone and heartbroken, he watches from afar, until he sees Ju-hee run back toward the concert hall. Realizing she must be looking for him, he runs to meet her. They find each other outside, colliding in an embrace, speechless but smiling through their eyes. That brief reunion, filled with silent joy, feels more meaningful than 1,000 words. Jun-ha finally offers her the flowers, marking their second meeting, short yet unforgettable. From then on, they secretly exchange letters behind Young-eun's back. Torn between his best friend and his beloved, Jun-ha is trapped in emotional torment, yet his love burns too strongly to extinguish. A school dance gives them another chance to meet, but since Young-eun is there too, they must pretend to be strangers. Still, every stolen glance between them carries the weight of everything they can't say, their hearts quietly speaking through their eyes, though the world forbids their love. The silent emotions they exchanged were enough to tie their hearts together, but beautiful times never last long. Watching Young-eun escort Ju-hee away, Jun-ha felt a wave of pain that he could not describe. After Young-eun politely said goodbye, Ju-hee stopped at the door, wishing with all her heart that Jun-ha would appear behind her. Just as he reached to press the doorbell, the porch light suddenly went out, and when he turned around, Jun-ha was quietly standing under under the dim street lamp, his face soft and glowing. The warm light reflected in Joo-hee's eyes blended with the streetlights, creating a tender and romantic scene that made time itself seem to stop. Only their hearts remained, bound together in the stillness of night. But no matter how deeply they loved each other, their love could never be accepted by the world. Joo-hee's marriage was already controlled by her parents. And what was worse, Jung-un, who had never agreed with his parents' arranged engagement, began to truly fall for Joo-hee. He came to her with flowers, sincerely confessing his love, leaving her lost and helpless, for her heart already belonged entirely to Junha. Yet between her love for Junha and the unbreakable bond of her arranged marriage with Jung-un lay an impossible distance. To stop hurting everyone further, Joo-hee decided to break up with Junha. Each time their secret signal light flashed in the night, she forced herself to look away, hiding her pain. But Junha couldn't let go. He came to her in the pouring rain, hoping to awaken the love still buried in her heart. Holding back tears, Joo-hee spoke cruel words that went against everything she felt inside. Her cold rejection struck him like a hammer, shattering all his dreams of love. Consumed by heartbreak, Junha stood under the storm, flashing their secret light again and again, desperately hoping for her response. But instead, she appeared behind him, silently walking away. Watching her leave so helplessly, Junha made a bold decision. He went to Jung-un and confessed everything about his relationship with Joo-hee. In the end, Jung-un chose to step aside, a generous but devastating act that nearly cost him his life. His sacrifice allowed Junha and Joo-hee's love to continue, and even during winter break, they wrote to each other every day. But soon, Joo-hee's father discovered her secret, and the news reached Jung-un's family. Furious, Jung-un's father couldn't accept that his son wanted to give up such a valuable match, a congressman's daughter. Enraged, he beat Jung-un with a belt until the boy swore he would win Joo-hee back. Only then did his father stop, but Jung-un said nothing to Junha about his father's demand. Instead, trembling, he handed Junha the same belt and told him to take care of Joo-hee. Strange words that left Junha confused. Moments later, when Junha went to look for him, he witnessed a horrifying sight. Unable to face breaking his father's promise or standing between two people who truly loved each other, Jung-un tried to end his own life. Thanks to timely rescue, he survived, though doctors couldn't say when he would recover. When Joo-hee visited the hospital, Junha was there too. The three, once close friends, now stood in unbearable silence. Seeing his friend nearly die to bless their love and realizing how much pain Joo-hee suffered because of him, Junha felt an overwhelming guilt. He finally understood that maybe he was the one who should leave. As Joo-hee turned back one last time, Junha walked away quietly, leaving only the necklace, their promise of love, hanging on the door handle. Seeing it, Joo-hee understood at once. It was his final farewell. Panicked, she ran outside searching for him, but he was gone. Stumbling through the crowded streets, tears pouring down her face, she tried to hold on to the love that had defined her youth, but that familiar figure had vanished into the sea of people. After that day, Junha seemed to disappear completely. No one could find him. Years later, Joo-hee met a recovered Jung-un, who told her the truth. To heal his heart, Junha had enlisted in the army and was being sent to fight abroad. Rushing to the crowded military station, she searched frantically until she saw him through a train window. All her suppressed emotions burst out, her trembling voice calling his name again and again, hitting his heart like heavy blows. But Junha couldn't face her. He couldn't reply. He buried his love deep inside, forcing himself to stay still. Yet her desperate cries cut through his chest like blades, reopening every wound he had tried to seal. His heart ached, as if it were being torn apart. Some fates are meant to end at the moment of meeting, and some loves, though agonizing, can never be forgotten. Junha put on his lucky uniform filled with her memories and silently vowed that if he ever returned alive, he would never again fail their love. But fate mocked them once more. During a fierce battle, his unit was ambushed, and just as he was about to retreat to safety, tragedy struck. Years later, Junha finally returned from the war and immediately arranged to see Joo-hee. Overwhelmed with joy, she burst into tears upon seeing the man she had waited for all these years. Yet, as they talked, Junha suddenly revealed that he was now married. Her heart froze. Tears fell uncontrollably, and the happiness of reunion shattered instantly. To break the tension, Junha turned toward a nearby table and pointed out a delicate piano figurine, praising its beauty. But the little boy nearby had already moved it to another table, and Junha hadn't noticed. In that instant, Joo-hee realized that the man she loved had lost his sight. Shocked, she waved her hand before his eyes, no reaction. Tears filled her eyes as the truth sank in. Realizing his secret was exposed, Junha stood abruptly to leave, but stumbled over a chair and fell. Joo-hee rushed to his side, trembling as she helped him up. He took out the old necklace and tried to return it to her, but she didn't take it back. Instead, she looked at him with deep, tearful affection, as if telling him that no matter what time or fate had done, her love for him had never changed. Joo-hee gently placed the necklace around Junha's neck, for this necklace carried all their beautiful memories and stood as a witness to their pure pure and innocent love. Later, under her family's arrangement, Joo-hee married Young-eun, but the tears in her eyes were forever sealed in the frame of time, holding both her longing for their past and the regret of a love left unfinished. Many years later, Joo-hee returned to the riverside where she and Junha had first met, her daughter playing quietly nearby. Lost in the bittersweet tide of memory, she was suddenly pulled back to reality by the sound of footsteps behind her. When she turned, she saw several of Junha's fellow soldiers walking toward her, carrying his urn. Her heart was struck as if by a heavy hammer, and tears poured uncontrollably down her face. She learned that when they last met, Junha had not actually married. He had lied to her only because he was blind and believed he could never make her happy. To make her give up on him, he had chosen to deceive her with kindness. Only after Joo-hee married Jung-eun did he start his own family, and eventually, trapped in endless darkness, he passed away quietly. His ashes were scattered at the very place where their first love began, becoming their eternal regret. In the final scene, Joo-hee's daughter softly tells her boyfriend this tragic yet beautiful story, but when she looks up, she sees tears streaming down his face. At first, she thinks he is simply moved by the story's sorrow and feels a strange warmth in her heart. But then, as he slowly removes the necklace from around his neck, revealing the pendant from that very story, she realizes the truth. Her boyfriend is Junha's son. Their meeting was not a coincidence, but fate's gentle design, a way to complete the love their parents could not. The love between Junha and Joo-hee, after circling through time and countless hardships, finally found its peace in the next generation. If love has a destiny, then this must be the most bittersweet form of it. Two people who once loved each other deeply but could not stay together, whose children met and healed what time had broken. Their love crossed the boundaries of life and time, living on in another form. This was a romantic and pure love story, simple, real, and deeply touching to millions of hearts. Joo-hee, as pure as a white jasmine blossom, though born into wealth, never lost her innocent heart. She longed for a love untouched by materialism and bravely fought against the world's harsh rules with her fragile strength. Junha, the humble boy from the countryside, dreamed of a life that didn't belong to the glittering city. Meeting Joo-hee was like glimpsing the moonlight through darkness, distant yet impossible not to reach for. Young-eun, who had been betrothed to Joo-hee since childhood, discovered that she loved his best friend, but chose to step back for the sake of friendship. Even when beaten and ordered by his father to reclaim her, he buried his feelings deep, using a smile to hide his pain and a quiet heart to protect those he loved. His silent restraint made his character deeply heartbreaking. When pure love collides with the iron walls of reality, when unbreakable friendship faces the silent test of the heart, the fates of these three young souls intertwine tightly. Joo-hee's fearless devotion, Junha's selfless retreat, and Young-eun's silent sacrifice together compose a melancholic ballad of youth, love, and choice. What makes this film truly moving is that it never forces emotion. Instead, it lays bare the fragile care in love, the painful choices in friendship, and the helplessness of life. We shed our own tears through their story, realizing that true love is not always about possession. Sometimes, letting go is the deepest form of love. We are like two fallen leaves from different seasons, meeting briefly before the wind carries us apart. Though we know how the story must end, the moments we shared will forever remain the brightest firework in the long night of our lives. Fate allowed us to meet, but never gave us a perfect ending. And perhaps it is precisely because of these regrets that the film touches the soul so deeply. I am Ye Feng. Thank you for watching and see you next time.